hello, Instagram. Hello, this is Dr. Iyabo Webzel on Tea Time with Dr. Iyabo. On a Thursday, I decided I was going to do my tea time on a Thursday because I missed last weekend. And then also because this weekend is probably going to be busy, just busy for family time as well. My stepsons are going to be on spring break. So I thought I'd do it today. And for those of you who miss it, you'll be able to watch the replay on my YouTube channel. If you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube by chance and you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube, what are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Instagram and you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube, you are missing out. I know I have a lot of content on my Instagram, over 7,000 posts, but on my YouTube, I have many long form videos that you can watch for 30 minutes, for 1 hour or more, that will really help you with your career, with your finances, with your relationships, dating, marriage, everything, self-care, self-confidence, content creation, personal branding, everything. So I'm making sure I don't have lipstick on my teeth. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, okay? So everybody, welcome as you're joining. Show me your teacup emoji. I know that I can't see you, but please show me your teacup emoji so that I'll know that you're here for Tea Time with Dr. Iyabo. And today's topic is women and codependency. I really felt like I needed to discuss this topic in detail because it is a big problem for many women all over the world. Every culture, every race, women especially. Men also have to endure codependent relationships, but women mostly, because we just tend to be giving, we tend to be caretakers. We just, women, we just want to give, and it's not always a good thing to always be the giver, because it can really ruin your health, ruin your future, ruin your goals, ruin your mental health. Codependency is a big problem. So I really wanted to talk about that today in detail. Hi, Dr. Moni. Hi, thanks for joining. So this is why today we are discussing women and codependency. Basically, women and codependent relationships. So while I wait for a few more people to join, can you all tell me where you're joining from? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a beautiful spring day out there, even though I love the spring. My birthday is also in April. I'm a spring baby, but allergies don't like me. Allergies don't like me. Honestly, right now, my eyes are itchy, even though I've used my Flonase, I've used my Loratadine, I've used my eye drops. I've had allergies since I was a teenager. Honestly, I'm allergic to every grass and every tree you can think of. But yes, hello everyone. Dr. Moni is in Lagos, Nigeria. Of course, I know that. Somebody's in Massachusetts, somebody's in Toronto. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying you love my work. I love you all. I love you all for the support you've been giving me over the years. Without you, I won't have a platform on Instagram. So I appreciate you guys as much as you appreciate me. Thank you so much. Who else is here? Tell me where you're joining in from. Chicago. Somebody's in the Chicago suburbs, but my family on my mother's side is from Georgia. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'm in Georgia. You mean Georgia, USA, right? Because I think there's a country called Georgia. Hi, Nicola. I see some of my regulars here. I see you, Nicola. So somebody's from Arizona. So there are a lot of US and Nigerian people here. Let's see if other countries will join. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Iyabo Webzel. I'm a pediatrician by trade. I've been practicing pediatrics for over 30 years. I own my own pediatric practice in Atlanta. I've had it for 20 years. This year is actually the 21st year. So I'm a pediatrician. I'm an entrepreneur. Aside from my pediatric practice, I also own my very successful online coaching business. I'm a public speaker, like what I'm doing now. So if you need somebody who is enthusiastic and who who is fiery and blunt to speak at your events, whether it's online or in person, send me a DM and let me know. I'm an author. I have a published book on Amazon called Permanent Happiness. If you haven't read it, make sure you go to the link in my bio to get your copy. And if you're not able to buy the copy because of the country you're in, I now have a PDF version that you can also buy. I love to speak. I love to coach and empower women. My passion is that every woman will excel and they'll reach the highest version of themselves. And this is what my passion is. This is what my mission is in life. And I'll continue to do that until God calls me home when I'm 105 years old. So those are all the things I do. Did I forget anything? I'm a coach, I'm a doctor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a mother. Obviously, you guys know I'm a mother. I have 4 kids, 2 daughters and 2 stepsons. And I'm the wife to my honey, Neil. So those are all the things I do. If I've forgotten any, well, yeah, but I'm a coach that, yes, 105. I'm a coach that coaches everything. Basically, if you are a woman and you need a coach who can coach you on all life matters, business, finances, personal branding, weight loss, wellness, appearance, even I can help you with the clothes. What's that called? Like your wardrobe coach, your personal, I'm forgetting what it's called, but I can help you with your looks, to help you choose the clothes that suits you best, to help you dress for your for your body type. I help with finances, with business. If you're a doctor or anybody in the healthcare field and you want to set up a business, a stylist, personal stylist, yeah. If you want to set up a business, whether it's online or offline, come to me. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a nurse or a physician assistant or a radiographer, any kind of healthcare business you want to set up, come to me. But really, any business at all, no matter what, whether you're a fashion designer or you sell bags, or you're a chef, or you're a writer, any kind of business you need to set up or to scale. If you already have a business and you feel like it's not doing well, you're not making profits, come to me and I'll help you. So everything about your business, your finances, investments, dating, relationships, marriage, wellness, weight loss, everything related to a healthy lifestyle, self-confidence, self-esteem, public speaking skills, personal branding, name it. I even do premarital counseling as well, and I offer therapy. I've always offered therapy. I may not have always advertised it. I'm advertising it more now because women are coming to me asking for my 24-hour coaching program for therapy. I've always offered therapy because you cannot be a good coach if you're not able to, you cannot be a good and effective coach if you're not able to offer some therapy. Let me explain. Coaching is helping people with their current life and with their future life. But for you to be able to help them with their current and their future life, you have to dive into the past. Because everything that is affecting them now and that will affect them in the future is something that has happened in the past. So you have to be able to dive into the past, to dig up all those wounds, dig up all that history, offer therapy for the past so that their present and their future will excel. So I've always offered therapy, and I see somebody is typing that they need therapy. If you need therapy, come to my DM. You guys know how to reach me. Just send me a DM and we'll go into the therapy. Why is my screen? I'm not sure why my screen is dark, but before I continue, before I start the topic of the day, can everybody see me clearly and hear me clearly? Can you see me clearly and can you hear me clearly before I start the topic of the day? Can some of you please answer yes or give me a thumbs up or something? Okay, very good. And I'm going to show you my cup. So you guys know I have many mugs. This one says, all you need is a good book. I love this mug. You see that it says all you need is a good book. It says the same thing on the other side. So that's where I'm drinking my tea from. And before I start, I also need a few of you to show me a few teacup emojis. Can I see your teacup emojis so that I'll know that you know where you are, that you're here at Tea Time with Dr. Iyabo, the best talk show on Instagram Live. The best talk show for women on Instagram Live. Okay? There's no other like Dr. Iyabo's talk show. Tea Time with Dr. Iyabo is the best talk show on Instagram Live. I know it, I say it, and I claim it because I know that every time I go live, it changes the lives of many women. Not only those who join in, but all of the thousands who are going to watch the replay on my Instagram and the replay on my YouTube. Okay, so I have seen enough emojis. So let's dive in. Ladies. Codependency is a huge problem for women. Because we women tend to be nurturing, we tend to be the caretakers, we tend to always want to give, to always want to make sure that everybody is fine around us, we end up in many codependent relationships without realizing it. And by the time we realize it, we've already done a lot of damage to ourselves, our mental health, our self-esteem. All of those things would start to be affected. In the beginning, it's more likely for you to enter a codependent relationship if you're struggling with low self-esteem, because people who have low self-esteem find it hard to say no. They find it hard to create boundaries, okay? So what is a codependent relationship? Basically, a codependent relationship is a relationship between two people that is mutually toxic, right? They are feeding into each other's dysfunction, okay? But one person usually suffers more than the other. The person who is giving usually suffers more than the other. Both of them really, at the end of the day, don't really benefit from it because it's a mutually toxic, mutually manipulative and dysfunctional relationship. A codependent relationship is very unhealthy. And it happens to a lot of women. I'll say that 99.9% of the women that I coach, they are suffering from some kind of codependent relationship or the other. And like I said, it's most common in women who have low self-esteem. And the problem with low self-esteem is most people who have low self-esteem don't know that they have low self-esteem. This is why it's so important that you hire a therapist, you have a coach, somebody, thank you, love, somebody who is neutral to be able to, so that was my honey bringing me my tea, my afternoon tea. I already had tea up here, but he brought me more tea. So pray for a husband that will bring you tea while you're doing your live or your work. Most people who have low self-esteem do not know that they have low self-esteem. That's why it's very dangerous. And that's why it's very important for every woman to have a coach or a therapist. I'm going to have to keep my cough drop in my mouth, so excuse me, because otherwise I'm going to be coughing and sneezing on you. It's very important for you to have that neutral person that you can talk to, that can help you, that expert that can help you analyze your behaviors, because most women are walking around with low self-esteem and they don't know, and they become victims, right? They become victims for codependent relationships. If you have low self-esteem, you will not know how to exert your boundaries. You'll always feel guilty when you exert your boundaries. You'll always feel guilty when you say no. You'll always feel like you're the bad person. And the person on the other side of the codependent relationship, they're experts at making you feel guilty. Okay? So, what are the most common codependent relationships? It's usually daughters with their parents, okay? So the daughter is the victim. Okay, she has a codependent relationship with her parents. Of course, women and their husbands, very common. Okay, in fact, I'll say that most women have codependent relationships with their husbands and their boyfriends. Okay, so it's usually daughters and their parents, it's usually women and their husbands or boyfriends, and then the one I talk about, the mama's boys. The third most common, or maybe the second most common, is men and their mothers. Okay, the mother is the one, the son is the one who is the victim. The mother is the one who is manipulative, right? And let me not forget, the fourth one is also women and their children. So let me repeat. The four most common codependent relationships are daughters being the victim of their manipulative parents, women being the victims of their manipulative husbands or boyfriends, sons and their mothers, sons being the victims of their mothers, and then the last one is mothers and their children. Okay, mothers and their children. So you and your kids. Codependent relationships are caused by many different things. It all boils down to mental health issues of some sort. Usually, like I said, it's low self-esteem, women who just tend to have low self-esteem. And where does low self-esteem come from? Low self-esteem can be genetic, it can be acquired. It's common in women who watch their mothers doing the same thing. So it's like that generational cycle, that generational curse that keeps on going from generation to generation. They watch their mothers have codependent relationships with them, or with her husband, or with her friends. She couldn't say no. She didn't have boundaries. She was the giver. She had dysfunctional relationships with people. She did not know how to say no. She didn't like to be alone. She always had to be around people, and people took her for granted. So acquired because they watched their mother do that. Genetic because sometimes low self-esteem can be a sign of borderline personality or other kinds of mental health disorders that lead to low self-esteem. Fear of abandonment. So many women just have a fear of being alone. They just have a fear of being abandoned, because maybe they've been rejected before. They have a fear of abandonment. They have a fear of rejection. They've had many toxic relationships, or they've gone through many breakups, or they've gone through 1 or 2 divorces, and they've never taken the time to heal. Okay? They've never taken the time to heal. So now they're scared of being rejected. They just want to be enmeshed. You guys know that word, enmeshment. They just want to be enmeshed with somebody, regardless of who it is. They want to give so that they can be accepted. It all boils down to that people-pleasing kind of behavior, right? You're scared of being alone. You're scared of being rejected. You're scared of another broken relationship. You're scared of another divorce. So now you want to overgive. You want to forget about yourself. You want to neglect yourself in order to please people. So there are many causes of this, and then a lot of time the person on the other side, not the victim, but the person who is really the dependent person, most of the time they have a narcissistic personality. I try not to use that word narcissist too much because it's overused, and many people just throw it out there without even knowing what it means. It's not everybody that is a narcissist. It's not every man that is a narcissist. It's not, it's overused, so I try not to use it. But real narcissistic personalities, also, if you're in a relationship with that kind of person, you can become the victim, which is, what happens to women. You can become the victim. So narcissistic personalities, borderline personalities, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, childhood trauma. Some people were abused sexually or physically when they were young, when they were kids, and then they have a tendency to be people pleasers. They have a tendency to get enmeshed with people and become the victim of codependent relationships. Cultural and societal beliefs, right? There's some cultures, like the Nigerian culture where I'm from, like many African cultures, like many Indian cultures, tend to have a little bit more codependent relationships. You know, we have watched our mothers and our grandmothers give. It's like, you know, the slavery, the ongoing slavery of women. We have watched them give, and neglect themselves. Women will get sick because they're trying to please others. So, you know, African culture, Indian culture tends to have a lot more codependent relationships with women, because women are just expected to give, to abandon themselves, to neglect themselves, to give. You'll see a woman, she's taking care of her children, taking care of her husband, taking care of her mother, taking care of her father, and eventually she will drop dead. You know, honestly, eventually she will drop dead at age 30 something or age 40 something from heart disease or from a stroke or something, because she hasn't been to the doctor in many years. She doesn't even know what's going on. She's taking care of children. She's taking care of her mother. She's taking care of some friends who need more, you know. So this is very, very common in some cultures. So cultural and societal beliefs as well. So those are really all the causes of codependent relationships, because it's very important for us to know what causes it, so that we'll know why it's so common. So low self-esteem, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, childhood trauma, generational cycles and generational curses, watching their mother do the same, and they also start to do the same when they're older. People-pleasing personality, childhood sexual abuse, childhood physical abuse, lack of healing from broken relationships, women who've had many unsuccessful relationships with men, or they've gone through a couple of divorces and they've never taken the time to heal. They tend to get enmeshed into codependent relationships because they're so scared that, okay, I don't want another divorce, I don't want another broken relationship, I don't want people to look at me as if I'm the problem. Then they become the overgiver, then they stay, you know, and regardless of whether they feel like they're being used or manipulated. In some cases, some parents are just bullies, okay? Some parents are just bullies. They're very overly protective, and they're just very controlling is the word. They're very controlling of their children. They'll make their kids feel guilty that, oh, you know, but I was your parent, especially mothers. They know how to do that. But I carried you for 9 months. I sweated for you. I did this for you. I sacrificed for you. Now you don't want to help me. Now you don't want to, you know, parents who are controlling, who are bullies, also, they tend to make their children the victim. So, you know, what do you do? How does this present? Can I give some examples? Absolutely. When it comes to women and their parents, how does this present? Nigerian culture, for instance, we say this thing, and which every time I say it around my children, they're like, God forbid. Imagine if I was still living in the house, you know, at that age. Nigerian culture, African culture, I think many other cultures out there, they believe that their adult kids should stay in the house until they get married, right? It's very known in the Nigeria. I left home when I was 22. I moved to England. I've always been Miss Independent anyway, so I would never do that. But many cultures believe that their adult daughters should stay in the house until they get married. First of all, that is the worst thing, because most daughters who do that, they end up not even getting married for a long time. They end up staying single for a long time, because if you're still staying under the roof of your parents, They're going to control all your choices. They're going to monitor your movements. They're going to, they're not going to even let you select the husband that you feel is best for your life. Because you're living under their roof, they're paying your bills, you're living for free, they're going to control you. They're going to baby you forever. Many women that I've coached who are having trouble with meeting a good partner, most of them still live under their parents' roof. So if you're listening to this today and you're a woman who you're still single and you hear me say this, that if you're living in your parents' house, I'm sorry to give you the bad news, but you're probably going to stay single for a long time, or you'll end up marrying the wrong husband. You'll end up marrying the man that your parents think you should marry, not the parents that you think is best for you. So I do not like that culture at all. Once a child is an adult, I'm not saying you should kick them out, okay? But once a child is an adult and they've gone to college, in America, people go start college around 18. Once a child has gone to college, first of all, if they're in college, let them live on campus. There are also those controlling parents, which I've coached some of them as well, my friends in their 50s, who they encourage their kids not to stay on campus, but to go from home. Because the reasons they give me are just controlling reasons. They just want to control these kids. I'm like, let these kids have a good experience of college. Let them go and live on campus. Oh, we can't afford it, but college is crazy. There's shootings in college. There's this thing. I'll read your comments in a little. Oh, Dr. Moni, I'll read your comments in a little bit. So let your kids go and live on campus and enjoy being independent, being around their friends, because God forbid, what if you drop dead today? Parents don't think about that. What if you drop dead today, if you're still controlling your kids and you don't teach them how to live life on their own? So many kids these days don't know anything about finances. They don't know anything about credit score. They don't know anything about investments because they're babied so much by their parents. So let your kids go to college, okay? Let your kids go to college. Let them live on campus, and you let them know that once you're done with college, you're not moving back into my house. I let my kids know that once you're done with college, you're going straight from college, you're living on your own. So you better start to work while you're on campus and saving money and planning for your future, because once you graduate, you're not moving back into my house. But it's the opposite. A lot of African parents encourage their kids to move back into the house. So these kids don't even practice how to be adults. They don't learn how to be adults. They move back into the house, and then that's the beginning of the codependent relationship. Because imagine an adult woman who is 26, 27, or 30 or 32 living in her parents' house. Her parents are probably in their 60s. They're probably getting to the point where they need a lot of help. And many parents don't take care of themselves. By the time they get into their 50s or 60s, they can't walk, they have backache, they have hip pain, they have everything. So they have this 30-year-old daughter who is single, who is still living in their house. She becomes their caretaker. This is what happens. Her parents start to age. She becomes their caretaker. She can't find a husband because it's going to be impossible for her to find her husband, because number one, she's taking care of her parents. She's probably not taking care of herself. She's gaining weight. Her mental health isn't good. Her parents are controlling all her choices. If she starts dating one guy, they'll say he's not good. Who is his father? What is his father's name? He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that, So she'll stay in that house. The enmeshment will start. The parents will get used to her being the company for them. She's the one who helps them up and down the stairs because they now have back pain and hip pain and leg pain. So the enmeshment starts. They get used to this daughter being their caretaker, and that's where the codependent relationship starts. She will get tired. She will get resentful. Every time she tries to move out, they will shame her. Or they will tell her, oh, but you're going to go and spend money. Just stay here and save money. Just meet a husband first and get married before you go. Every time she tries to move out, she ends up moving back in. Because they start throwing pity parties, they make her feel guilty. That is where the dysfunctional, toxic relationship starts with with daughters and their parents. I call those parents very, very selfish. Very selfish. Because they have had their chance at life. They are living in their married home with their husband, but they're now turning their daughter into their nanny, into their caretaker. It is selfish, it is toxic, it is not good, and those parents need to stop. So if you are that parent, if you are that daughter, just listen to me. If you're watching this on Instagram, the replay on YouTube, and you are that daughter who's been feeling guilty because you're taking care of aging parents and you don't have a life of your own, it is time for you to move out. Take this as the sign that you need to move out. Your parents have had their own chance at life. They're in their 60s or 50s or 60s or 70s. You need to enjoy yourself. You are enabling this toxicity. So you need to tell them up front, mom and dad, or even if it's only your mom, even if it's only your mom and she's lonely, you cannot, spend the rest of your whole life tending to your mother. You have to live your life. It is not selfishness. Jesus would clap for you if you moved out and you created boundaries. You're going to say, even if she's suffering from a chronic illness. Are you guys listening to me? Even if she's suffering from a chronic illness, you're going to sit down and you're going to make a plan. What is their financial status? Okay, they're living in a house. Do they have any kind of retirement fund? Do they have any kind of savings? Do they have any kind of house that they can sell? Do they have any jewelry that they can sell? What is their financial state? You're going to bring out all of those things. If they have any houses, you're going to put it on the market so that they have to sell those houses because they need money to hire a nanny. They need money to hire a caretaker. And you need to set a date that you're going to move out, and you need to stick to that date and move out. Otherwise, your life, you will die a premature death because it happens all the time where young women become the caretakers of their aging parents and they die before their parents. It happens. You will just collapse one day from exhaustion because you're mentally exhausted, you have a heart attack, you have a stroke, and you die before your parents, or you die an early death. You have your life to live. You're going to have to set a date. You're going to bring out the calculation. What are the finances you have? What savings do you have? What money do you have? They have to bring out that money because many of these parents say they don't want to go to an old people's home. They don't want to go to a retirement home. They have to make a choice. It's either they use their money to go to a retirement home or they hire a nanny or a caretaker, and you'll have to love them from a distance. It is okay to love from a distance. I'm telling you, I do not ever want my kids to feel like they have to take care of me in old age. No, this is why I have my retirement fund. My retirement fund is in 7 figures and I have many assets because I want my children to enjoy their life. I never ever want to be a burden to my children. If they want to spend time with me, let it be their choice. But I will never be a burden to my children because I planned my retirement well and I take care of myself. I'm going to be 55 a month from today and I feel like I'm 30 years old because I take care of myself. But there's not many 55-year-olds that can still walk and be mobile and do because they don't take care of themselves. They let themselves go and then they turn their daughters into caretakers. So if you are that daughter, I hope you are listening to me. This message is for you. Enough is enough. You are going to set a date. You are going to bring out all of their finances and you're going to tell them that you are leaving. And let me say this. Whatever you feel Okay, I have to say this. Whatever you feel that you have also been gaining from them, you're going to have to let that go. Because one thing about codependent relationships is that the victim also eventually gets sucked into these advantages that she's gaining from the people. For instance, in this scenario we're talking about, this daughter may have been told by her mom or her dad or both of them that look at all the money you're saving. You don't have to pay for rent. You don't have to pay for food. You're enjoying all this free stuff. And she would have been sucked into that mentality that she's living, she's saving money, and she doesn't have to pay rent. You are an adult. If you are a daughter and you are the victim of this kind of codependent relationship with your parents, enough of the breastfeeding from your parents. Okay? Get a job and move out. Even if you have to live in a ramshackle or you have to live in the worst apartment, move out and start your life independently and love your parents from afar. And let them hire a nanny or a caretaker and love them from afar. I'm telling you, many women that I've coached who are still single in their 30s and in their 40s, it's because they're either still living with their parents and they have this toxic, dysfunctional enmeshment with their parents, or they had that before and it has ruined their life. They had that enmeshment with their parents for too long and now they don't know how to attract a good man. They don't know, they have a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment. They stayed too long in that toxicity and they haven't taken time to hire a therapist like myself. And it is preventing them from being able to have fulfilling, interdependent relationships. Every relationship they go into, it ends up being codependent because they haven't taken the time to release themselves from that toxic bond that they had for so many years with their parents. Every relationship they go into, they start to overgive. I believe these are the women who argue with me online about saying, but why shouldn't we chase men? Why shouldn't we initiate calls? Why shouldn't we initiate texts? Whenever I dig deep into the past of those women, when I coach them, I always find that they have been in some kind of codependent relationship in their past for too long. And they are now so used to being the giver, the chaser. And it ruins all their relationships. They've never taken time to heal. All of those women who believe that they should be chasing men, who will argue online. You guys see them in my comments. But Dr. Iyabo, what are you talking about? But when we're dating, we should also be able to show the man that we're interested. Why can't we fly down to visit him? Why can't we call him? Why can't we cook for him? How will he know he likes us? A few of those ones who have come to me for coaching, when I dig up their past and I go into my coaching, I always find the codependent relationships that they were in for too long that messed up the chemistry in their brain, that they have not taken the time to heal from. So therefore, they believe that every relationship they go into, they have to overgive, overchase, overplease. They're scared of being rejected again. They're scared of being abandoned. So codependency is a lot more common than we know it is. And it is usually the root of a lot of mental health problems and relationship problems in women. Dr. Moni said African parents control their kids no matter how old they are, 16 or 60 years old. Well, you have to have boundaries, right? We have to have boundaries. Okay, I've been there. Me and my mom, we butted heads all the time because my mom tried her best to control, to influence me. But I said, no, I had boundaries. I had boundaries. There was a time that I didn't talk, may her sweet soul rest in peace. There was a time that I didn't talk to my mom for many months because she did something that just totally overstepped my boundaries with her and with one of my older sisters. And I didn't speak to her for a long time, but I was sending her love and prayers from my spirit. I did not hold anything negative in my spirit for her, but I just cut off all communication. You can love people without being next to them. When I coach women and I tell them this, it's always like this phenomenon they're not used to. But when they think about it, they're like, you're so right. I can actually love them without being next to them. Women, if you haven't learned anything so far from this live I'm doing, I want women to learn this. In fact, can all of you start typing this and say, I can love people without being next to them? Because this phenomenon is very important for those of you who have low self-esteem, who are people pleasers, who tend to be the victim of codependent relationships. Everybody start typing that now. You can type, I don't have to be next to somebody to love them. Or you can just say, I can love somebody from a distance. You can love your parents from a distance. You don't have to live with them and be their nanny and their cook and their cleaner and let them ruin your life. I hear what Dr. Moni says. Dr. Moni says African parents control their kids no matter if they're 16 or 60. Well, their kids need to create boundaries. If you are an adult, once you're an African child and you're 18 or above, you have to create respectful boundaries. I'm not saying you should insult your parents. You're just going to say, Mom, I'm sorry. My kids tell me that. My older daughter has told me that before, and I'm like, okay, I'm all right. Okay. You know, if you tell your parents and you say, Mom, with all due respect, I'm now an adult. You have done what you can to raise me. Please allow me to figure out my life by myself. Speak up, communicate, and let them know. But Dr. Moni, the reason why a lot of kids don't do that is because they are also gaining something secretly from those parents. That's what happens. The parents have given them a free car, or the parents are paying their rent. They just owe something to those parents, so they stay in this toxic, dysfunctional, codependent relationship, and they're trapped. So until you cut off all of those things that the codependent, the manipulative person is giving you, you will continue to feel guilty. Okay? I'm not saying you should give all gifts back. If they gave you a gift after you got married and it was a car, it doesn't mean you have to give it back. But ongoing taking, if you're constantly taking from this codependent, manipulative person, you will forever stay there and be stuck. Stop staying in their house and letting them tell you, but I pay your rent, but you're staying here for free. Where are you going? You have to cut off those toxic chains. Somebody said, wish I had known this earlier. Makes so much sense. Well, now you know it. Now you know it. You know it now, so you can change. Dr. Moni says, oh yes, renting a house as a single girl means you're wayward. But it's changing, especially because most young ladies now don't work in the same city as their parents. Yeah, you know, that African culture really, really needs to change. Really, really, really needs to change, because if you don't move out of your parents' house, they will control your entire life. They will choose your husband for you. They will control and manipulate everything about you. And most of the time, you will even just remain single for the rest of your life, because they will not want you to get married. They will criticize every man you meet because they're so used to having you in the house, taking care of them, right? Taking them to their doctor's appointments, helping them walk up and down the stairs. Basically, you become their forever nurse or caretaker, and your life just halts for the rest of your life, and you will have resentment for the rest of your life. So it is time to break those cords. Now, the relationship between wife and husband, we can talk, that one we can talk about it forever. I post about it all the time on my Instagram. We women, Women have codependent relationships with their husbands too much. They depend on their husband for money. They depend on their husband for emotional support. They depend on their husband for everything. Women, you are adults. You are adults. Make your own money. I have said this 1,000,000 gazillion times, and many of you still don't want to hear it. Okay? Make your own money. Money gives you dignity. Money gives you a voice. Money gives you self-confidence. Money gives you freedom. If you're dependent on a man 100% for money, like I say all the time, just be ready to be treated like his child. If a man is giving you pocket money, be ready to be treated as his child. You are not children. Women, I don't understand. Am I a unicorn? Or maybe because I was raised by a mother who made her own money, and she and my dad, they both were financially sufficient. What's wrong with women these days? You think that if you make a man your 100% financial plan, you think he's going to respect you? Because you see all these celebrities out there, right? You see the Nigerian celebrities, those who marry the older men than them, and they look like they're happy and they're dressed in designer stuff head to toe. They're not happy. These women are not happy. Any woman who doesn't make her own money, who is married to some rich guy, is not happy. If you live with them, you will know how unhappy they are. Yes, when they dress and they come out, they look fine because their makeup is on point. They are dressed in all the designer things. You see all the flashy, all the bags that cost 50,000, the watch that cost 500,000. But despite all that, they're not happy. They're dying inside. If you really, I'm a very intuitive person. When I see their pictures and their videos on Instagram, I can tell these women are not happy. It's very easy to decipher women that are happy. Yes, they have everything, the gele, the hair tie is done perfectly, the makeup is done perfectly, but they are not happy. This is what you women want. When you meet a woman who is married to a rich man, and she is also rich, you will feel the different kind of energy. You will feel the different kind of joy. You will see it in her. You will see it in her. So women, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. I'm telling you, all of you that are looking for rich men, I want his money, I can't marry. Make your own money. Make your own money, and then you can marry a rich man if you want, but have your own rich money. Okay? So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I post about it all the time. When you are an adult, you leave childish ways behind. And being an adult woman, even if you're a wife, means that you leave childish ways behind. You earn your own money. You make your own money. You're going to become his child if he has to pay for everything, and you're not going to be able to talk. Your mouth will be zipped up. You will become his doormat. You will become his footmat. You will not be able to talk. He can sleep with the whole world. He can be cheating on you with 500 women. You will not be able to talk because you're stuck. Because you're so used to this flashy lifestyle. I'm not going to spend time on that. But not every man is a narcissist. Women, okay? Not every man, when you close your eyes and you look for money and you marry these men and you don't have any way of making money, then after you get married to them, you start calling them narcissists. Are they really narcissists, or do you have low self-esteem? Or are you just a materialistic woman who walked into a marriage because of money, and then now you're calling the men narcissists? Many of you call men narcissists after you have made a terrible choice in choosing men because of money. Then when they start to abuse you, they become narcissists. Is he a narcissist, or do you have issues? Are you just materialistic? Are you greedy? Do you have low self-esteem? And then you walk in there because you want all the glitz and glamour. And then after 1 month or 2 weeks or 1 day, your husband changes and you start to see a monster, and then you call him a narcissist. But why did you walk into it? Okay? The next codependent relationship, again, I guess it's women and their kids. Okay? I talked about women and their parents, but it's really the same. So now we're changing. So women and their kids. There are also women who are like my age, 40s, 50s, 60s, who are starting to have teenage kids, adult kids. Okay? And they go into this enmeshment relationship with their children. There are many women out there, because they don't have a purpose, they've abandoned their career, they've abandoned their business, they don't have any purpose. They make their children their world. They make their children their world. They make their husband their world. They start to manipulate their children. There are many women who do that. They're single married women. They don't have any purpose. They just don't have anything they're doing. They don't have a career. They don't have a business. They don't make money. They're a housewife. I don't have anything against housewives. If you want to be a housewife, be a housewife. I don't recommend it though. Okay? Before you all come and attack me, if you want to be a stay-home mom, be a stay-home mom. Enjoy it. But do I recommend it? N-O, capital N-O. But there are many women who live vicariously through their children. Their life is empty without their children. These are the mothers I was referring to in the beginning, who their kids are in college. They encourage their kids to live at home and not live on campus. They will use every excuse. Oh, there's shootouts on campus. Campus is dangerous. There's too many drugs. They want those kids to live under their roof so they can control them. So there's women, and I talked about women and their parents, but now I'm talking about women and their kids. There's those of us in my age group, the middle-aged women who live vicariously through their daughters and sons. They keep them at home. They don't want them to leave. They want to control them. And they keep those children at home for so long that those children can now not function as adults. The daughters cannot meet any man to marry because their parents are controlling them. And then we get into the mother-son relationship, the mama's boys. Okay? The mama's boys. The mother who is the expert manipulator of her son. Okay? Her husband is nowhere to be found. He's always traveling for work. He's not at home. So she turns that son into her husband. Right? She turns, her daughter will become her caretaker. Her daughter will be the cook and the cleaner and the house girl. She will be doing all the chores. Her son will become her boyfriend, right? And she will ruin the lives of both of them. The daughter will not be able to get married. She will stay there forever and be her house girl. The man also, even if he gets married or he just will not be able to cope with adult relationships. So I can go on and on and on and on. Codependency is extremely common. Extremely common. So if you're watching the replay of this video and this sounds like you, if you are the victim or you are the manipulative person, it is time to stop. Because the outcome for both of you is never good. Okay? That enmeshment, that toxic, dysfunctional, manipulative, unhealthy relationship, it ruins the lives of both parties, but especially the life of the victim. Especially the life of the victim. In the daughter and parent situation, they usually ruin the life of the daughter. In the husband and wife relationship, the life of the wife usually gets ruined. She ends up with mental health problems. She ends up with physical health problems. It's just bad. In the mother and children relationship, the daughters, the victims, it's never positive. It's never positive. So if you are the victim of a codependent relationship and it is hard for you to get away from your parents, or it is hard for you to get away from this manipulative husband, or it's hard for you to get away, or you're a daughter who it's hard for you to get away from your manipulative mother, or you're the son who has become the boyfriend or the romantic partner of your mother, this video is your wake-up call. This video is your wake-up call. Before it's too late, you need to make a plan to leave immediately within the next 2 weeks. It's not something that you're going to say, oh, I'll leave in the next 6 months, I'll leave in the next 1 year. No. You have to leave quite immediately. You have to talk to them. And if you feel that, I've coached my clients before, if you feel that talking to them is going to cause a big argument or cause a big row, and it's just, then don't talk to them. Just make your plan and leave. You're an adult, and they will have to find a way to care for their life. You will have to find out if it's your parents, how much money do they have? What is their financial situation? How can they hire a nanny that can be coming every day? Or how can you move them into a retirement home? Because you have your life to live. Okay? So it has to stop. Otherwise, the outcome is always really bad for the victim. It ruins the life of the victim. They usually need intensive ongoing therapy because of that ongoing, very toxic, negative, codependent relationship. They've been made to feel guilty so much. They've been made to be so scared of being abandoned. They've been made to feel so scared of being alone. They become like a child again. The victim actually regresses. They regress into this childhood, immature situation where they're scared of rejection, they're scared of abandonment, they're scared of saying no, they're feeling guilty that they are not good people, that they are not, you start feeling like, oh, maybe I'm a bad person for saying no. Maybe I'm a bad person for not taking care of my parents. Maybe you start feeling these deep, intense feelings of shame and guilt. And it will ruin all your relationships. And then the generational cycle continues. So if you're a woman who's been a victim of a manipulative parent or a manipulative husband, your daughter is watching you, she will do the same. This is why these things never end until somebody breaks the cycle. Your daughter is watching you, she will become the same. She will become the victim of a manipulative person in her relationships. This is why it just goes on and on and on, and it never ends. The son who is being romanticized by his mother, he will not be able to have positive relationships. He will also abandon his children because his father abandoned him and he had to replace his father with his mother. So if you want your future generations to do better, you have to break the cycle of this codependency now and seek help. Many of my clients don't like me posting their testimonials, even if it's anonymous, because they feel like maybe somebody will be able to figure them out. But this lady that I coached recently, I really asked her that, can you please, this lady that lives in England, the English Caucasian lady, and she said, okay, as long as it's anonymous. But I really wanted to post that one because it's such a common problem. It's such a specific example of how codependency of daughters and their mothers can literally ruin their lives. Until this woman has suffered all sorts of things. They've given her a diagnosis of autism, of ADHD. She spent thousands of money she doesn't have on all sorts of therapists. And when I started to dig into her past, within like 10-15 minutes, I told her what was going on. I told her that the relationship with her and her parents was toxic, especially the relationship between her and her mother. She had lived with them for too long. This woman is in her late 30s, still living with her parents. She said every time she tried to move out, she would move out for a few weeks, she would move back in again because they would throw these pity parties. It is so common. And what's the treatment? It's therapy. It's therapy. So if you've been the victim of a codependent relationship, don't think that you can just leave. In fact, most people can't even live without therapy. Okay, so let me even let me reverse. Most people cannot even break free from those relationships without therapy. The women that I've coached, it's after they come to me that they're able to realize what's going on, that they can realize that, wow, this is really toxic. And then I give them the tools, the strategies on how to live. So if you are inside that enmeshment, that toxic codependent relationship right now, and you're exhausted, you're tired, you're suffering from mental health issues, in fact, your own physical health is suffering, you need to come to me. You need to come to me. It will be money well spent, even if it's just my 24-hour coaching for $2,500. Come to me so that I can help you heal, so that I can help you release yourself from this toxic bond, and you can start to feel a new sense of self and feel free and live your own life. Okay? So the treatment for codependent relationships is therapy. And if you feel that you can live on your own, live, but you still need therapy. Because if you separate yourself from that codependent relationship and you don't get therapy, you're going to go back into another codependent relationship. It happens all the time. If you don't take the time to heal and you don't hire a therapist, you will still go into another codependent relationship. This is why so many women are so prone to codependent relationships, because they've been in so many in their past. They haven't taken the time to heal. They never hired an expert to help them heal, and they just keep the cycle going. Codependent after codependent after codependent relationship. The people pleasing goes on. The fear of abandonment goes on. The fear of rejection goes on. And they live their entire life in that kind of toxic cycle, and they never really feel the fullness of being a free human who actually is able to experience life in its fullness, because that's what they're used to. Yes, Dr. Moni said it. Because that's what they're used to. They don't know any better. So until you hire a therapist like myself who is able to help you dig in and you can talk about all these things and you can understand that it's actually a very toxic cycle and how to release yourself, how to do the work to heal from that past so you can move into a new future. Even if you leave, if you don't get the help, you're going to keep going into enmeshment after enmeshment. So that's my topic for today. It is a very, very important topic. So if this is not you, if you're not the manipulator and you're not the victim, but if you know somebody who is in this kind of relationship, please share this video with them. Tell them to go to my YouTube or tell them to come to my Instagram and watch it, because I believe this video will save many, many, many lives. Many lives. Okay? Any questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to log off, and that's it. The replay will be on my Instagram. The replay will be on my YouTube. If you are not yet subscribed to my YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube at Dr. Iyabo. Hello, love. Looks like you're just joining. If you're just joining, please watch the replay on my YouTube channel at Dr. Iyabo. Any questions? Any questions? If there are no questions, I'm going to log off, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, probably more like 3 weeks, for the next episode of my talk show, Tea Time with Dr. Iyabo. Everybody, thank you so much. Looks like there's no questions. Watch the replay, let it sink in. If you need therapy, send me a DM. If you need coaching for any part of your life, whether it's money, whether it's mental health disorders, whether it's dating, relationships, marriage, anything, anything you need that has to do with your life, just please send me a DM. Invest in yourself. Get help. Get help. And stop saying you can't afford coaching, you can't afford therapy. You better be able to afford it, because if you don't afford it, you will pay lots of very expensive consequences. So invest in yourselves. Okay? All right, I'm going to log off. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.